us now. Are you all able to hear me clearly? Is everyone hearing me clearly? Thank you. Okay, ma'am, I'll start. Thank you so much, Nutan ma'am, for today, for giving me this opportunity, because I have learned something technically. Now, before I start, I once again wish to pay obeisance, my respects to the enlightened masters, our sages, seers, acharyas. The science of Ayurveda, which are pearls of wisdom, and my teacher today, Dr. Nutan, and also the students, the rest of you, you're all my teachers. And this entire journey of 6 weeks, where I have learned a lot from each one of you, and I'm sure that I'll continue to learn in the future time to come. Okay. Now with this, I, Manisha Soni, will start with my presentation. Now, my presentation is on fetal nourishment, that is Garbhaposhan and Garbhasanskar. ठीक है? इससे पहले कि मैं आगे बढ़ूं, मैं आप सबके साथ ये शेयर करना चाहती हूँ कि हम फीटल नरिशमेंट के ऊपर इतना ज्यादा एम्फेसिस क्यों नहीं करते हैं। बहुत हद तक तो हमें पता है कि फीटल नरिशमेंट जरूरी है, क्योंकि आने वाले बेबी में कोई मैल फंक्शंस नहीं होने चाहिए, कोई एब्नॉर्मैलिटीज नहीं होनी चाहिए, वो सब तरह से भरपूर होना चाहिए. That is one aspect of it. Okay, and modern science has made us aware that lack of nutrition of important components like iodine, iron, folate, calcium can cause anemia, eclampsia, preeclampsia, hemorrhage, death of the fetus or the mother. Okay, there can be developmental delays in the baby, poor lactation for the mother. Now, this is the physical aspect of it, why fetal nourishment is important. Also, the nourishment to the fetus is important for development of cognitive abilities. जो intelligence है baby की, वो भी बहुत हद तक the nourishment that the mother has taken and whatever the fetus has been able to imbibe through the environment, उस पे depend करती है. ये तो रहा physical aspect of it. Now, what I have learned in the process of this course is the importance of responsibility of bringing forth a child. This is my personal takeaway from this course. As a person who is wanting to have a progeny, it is my duty towards my family, my society, and my country to bring forth a healthy being. At least that part of it, which is there in my ability. Part, of course, I have no force on, but what is there in my ability? So that is why, again, fetal nourishment becomes important. Fine. Beautiful sutra basically tells us about the components of what a mother takes in, how it gets distributed further. This sutra also tells us that the child in the mother's womb is entirely dependent upon what the mother consumes. स्त्री जो consume करती है, ठीक है, गर्भ उस पे completely dependent है, reliant, और उसकी activities पर भी reliant, ठीक है. Now, there are three major aspects of the food that are consumed by the mother, which form a part of fetal nourishment. Part of that food goes towards her self-nourishment, उसके अपने शरीर के पोषण के लिए. Part of it goes towards the nourishment of the milk-producing glands, which are going to be the future food of the child, and is very important once the child is out of the womb and is an independent identity in the world. And third, while the fetus is still in the womb, while the fetus is there in the womb, it is the nourishment that it is taking. So, माँ के आहार के 3 major aspects हैं. Fetal nourishment के ये 3 major aspects हैं. And what I've also come to understand is that what the mother eats and what the child gets are basically thing, they're interlinked. Okay. Now, the factors that influence fetal nourishment are source of nourishment. I'll be explaining each one of them separately. Khana kahan se aur kaisa hai? Ambu, the state of amniotic fluid. Medium of nourishment. किस तरह से वो एम्ब्रियो या फीटल स्टेज में बेबी तक पहुंच रहा है. And what is the health of the connecting channels between the mother and the fetus? The two important channels I'm talking about also. Now, the Ayurvedic concept of nourishment is Shadarasatmak diet. वो 6 स्वाद या टेस्ट जो हर खाने का इंपॉर्टेंट हिस्सा होना चाहिए. ठीक है. इसके बारे में भी हम थोड़ा सा आगे बात करेंगे. The attitude with which the mother takes the food and rest oriented. अब ये 6 स्वाद, my personal understanding is, इसलिए भी जरूरी है. एक तो ये कि ये रस धातु बनाएगी, सॉरी, जिसने फीटस का पोषण करना है. दूसरा ये वही स्वाद है जो हम आगे जाके चाहेंगे कि हमारा बच्चा जब अपने आप पे आता है तो इन सारे स्वादों को वो एंजॉय कर पाए. So many times we hear mothers say that the child doesn't eat this, the child that, or the child is fussy. It needs to be looked into whether the mother was taking all kinds of tastes when she was carrying the child. Okay. Also, in my next slide, I'll show you why these 6 tastes as per Ayurveda become very important. Second important aspect is an attitude of gratitude. Now, every mother may not be able to afford the food that is displayed in the picture, but even if she eats a very, very simple ahar of, say, just curd, rice and dal, or dal, roti and achar, if she eats it with an attitude कि ये आहार जो है मेरा भी भरपूर पोषण करे और बच्चे का भी, I am sure that attitude works a lot towards what is going to be assimilated towards the food. And the third important part is basically a balance between rest and activity. Neither too much of rest, not too less rest, because it works towards digestion. 6 tastes and their predominant elements. This is where वो 6 स्वाद जो हैं, वो 6 रस जो हैं, they become important. मधुर स्वाद जो है वो earth और water है. खट्टा, आमला is earth and fire. लवण या salt is water and fire. कटु, fire and air. Bitter or तिकट is air and ether, and astringent or kashaya is air and earth. ये वो 5 elements हैं जिससे मेरा शरीर बना है. यही 5 elements हैं जिनसे सारा cosmos बना है. इसीलिए after the body perishes, it mingles with the cosmos. So this is where the importance of taking in the 6 rasas is there. I have taken this paragraph from Secha, which is actually from our textbook, which is actually the translation of the sutra that I had shared in the beginning. Now, I want to draw your attention in this to the most important word, Garbhini diet. Okay, अब Garbhini diet क्या है? कफवर्धक diet है. वैसे तो आयुर्वेद में फर्स्ट ट्राइमेस्टर के लिए इसको ज्यादा एम्फेसिस दिया गया है, लेकिन अगर आप मुझे पूछें तो पूरी प्रेगनेंसी में जो कफवर्धक है, along with the other 2 doshas, is important because the pregnancy needs to remain stable and solid. Okay, अब कफवर्धक डाइट या इसको हम इंग्लिश टर्म्स में एनाबॉलिक डाइट भी कहते हैं. एनाबॉलिक डाइट वो है जो बिल्डिंग अप ऑफ मॉलिक्यूल्स पे एक्ट करती है, कैटाबॉलिक जो ब्रेकिंग डाउन पे एक्ट करती है, बिकॉज द मदर्स बॉडी इज बिल्डिंग अप, द फीटस इज बिल्डिंग अप विद इन द मदर्स वूम. So that is Garbhini diet becomes, and this the importance of the sutra that I had shared in the beginning. This is my favorite picture in my presentation. It shows the placenta. Remember, I had talked about the source of nourishment. I have finished. Ambu, medium of nourishment, and the connecting channels. Okay. move on to these now. On the top part, you see where my cursor is, the placenta, which is actually the communicating bed between the fetus, the baby, and the mother. And ma'am has very beautifully explained, so the image is very graphic and clear in the head. Now, baby से गर्भनाभिनाल इसे कहते हैं, which is the umbilical cord, goes towards the placenta. It's so between the placenta and the fetus is the Garbhanabhinal or the umbilical cord. Now the sac is full of fluid, which is also a medium of transference of everything that is going to be taken up by the fetus from the mother. The nutrients, everything, the emotions, the feelings, everything. Okay, so these are the important parts of fetal nourishment. Health of placenta is crucial, decides the health of the baby. So does the health of the umbilical cord. And the amount of amniotic fluid, which should neither be too much nor too less. Now, in this picture, मैं जितनी बार इसको समझने की कोशिश करती हूँ उतनी बार समझती भी हूँ और कंफ्यूज भी होती हूँ, शायद बिकॉज ये बहुत टेक्निकल पिक्चर है. सो रसवह नाड़ी इज द नाड़ी विच इज द network of tissues connecting to the mother, which carries everything towards the placenta. Now, the digestive fire of the mother plays a very important role in the fetal nourishment. Okay, because the processes about which I'll talk later are going to transfer the nutrients from the hotter part towards the cooler part. Okay, then the health of the blood vessels of the mother and the fetus are very, very crucial. Now, before being born, baby doesn't have the 4 chambers classically that we all adults have. So the health of the blood vessels of the mother, which are actually taking the nutrients towards the baby, and the blood vessels of the fetus or the baby, which are going to distribute this over the entire body. That is important part of fetal nourishment. Now, I have this picture because somewhere it made me understand that, you know, placenta is something like a sponge. Okay, but throughout pregnancy, apara or the placenta retains the primary role of all biological membranes. ठीक है, लेकिन इसकी selective permeability है. ये वही चीजें fetus तक पहुंचने देता है जो fetus के लिए अच्छी और healthy है. And that is the meaning of the word selective. It will not allow, under normal circumstances, allow toxins to percolate down towards the baby. It happens in unusual circumstances, but normally it won't. Okay. So with particulate matter like blood vessels and macromolecules, and the transfer is severely restricted, providing a placental barrier. So how beautifully it is defined that this is a beautiful barrier. Ab us barrier mein se the baby will receive everything that it has to. What is not required is going to be left out and is going to be excreted by the system of the mother. Now, एक छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल, हमारे पास क्रीम है, हमें उससे घी बनाना है. तो व्हाट इज द प्रोसेस दैट वी यूज? हम उस क्रीम को चर्न करते हैं. ठीक है, वो चर्निंग का जो प्रोसेस है और जो भी उसमें होता है हमें बटर देता है जिससे हम घी बनाते हैं. उसी तरह से, नॉट आइडेंटिकली, लेकिन उसी तरह से विद इन द वूम देयर आर दीज प्रोसेसेस कॉल्ड उपस्नेह, उपस्वेद, एंड द through the placenta, whatever that is being taken, that work towards imbibing of the nourishment of the fetus, everything that it has to take from the mother. So it is something like this, the concept of upasved and upasvedas. Now, there is diffusion, there is osmosis, as we had seen in the other picture, selective permeability, okay? And so basically there is an equalization of so that there is no imbalance created between the baby, its environment within the amniotic sac, and whatever it has to take from the mother. So there is osmosis, there is diffusion, there is fermentation. At a particular time, जिस भी process की requirement होती है, that comes into play, to deliver the necessary thing to the child. This is my concluding slide. These 3 words are very impactful, ma'am, which we had seen. I think we studied it in Garbhini paricharya. Anupaghatam. So this pertains to fetal nourishment as well. The food or the nourishment which doesn't harm the baby but helps it to grow. Paripurna, which is holistic and wholesome. And Sukh Prasavayacha, which helps in seamless and easy and a happy exit from the womb into the world. Thank you. Yes, ma'am, I'm through.